Let's start with DXY. First of all, to see overall picture in the market, how we can trade other USD pairs as well based on DXY analysis. So starting with first of all monthly chart to see overall picture in this market, as higher time frame will always give us clear direction, removing all the noise from the lower time frame. So monthly price action, we can see that DXY after back-to-back 3 months of a strong bullish move, this month we can see that so far the price tested the previous monthly doji shadow on both sides. So you can see there's a long wick here, there's a long wick here. On both sides there are shadows, and the price has tested that both sides. Now at the moment, what kind of trading opportunity we can see in this upcoming week? Let's look at the weekly chart to find out how the price might be evolving here. Now if we look at the market structure in this market, we can see that here is the market at an impulse followed by this correction, and we can see another impulse followed by deeper correction, another impulse, we can see that deeper correction. Now previous week we can see that there is a long wick doji formation. From the weekly perspective, the price has tested this high, which is the NFP candle, and we can see from that zone the market managed to break below. At the moment, what I think that this week, as the price has got a very strong rejection from the top, though it is a long-term uptrending market, we might see a retest of this weekly support in that area. Now dropping down to the daily chart, we can see that from the daily perspective, the uptrend is clearly visible. We can see that there is a very strong impulse here followed by correction to the 20 EMA. We have seen another impulse again, correction to the 20 EMA, and the market was maintaining series of higher high and higher low, which is basically a very strong uptrending market. Now at the moment, what we can see, this is the daily price action here, and in the daily price action, what we can see that after this doji, there is a daily price action has bounced from this level. And what I think that as there is a very strong rejection from this top with a long wick candle, we could see that DXY ultimately potentially dropping back, what I think that initially for deeper liquidity grab, as this is a very important level of support. What I think that the price may drop initially, then could bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the 4-hour chart, what we can see that in this lower time frame, this is the 4-hour time frame on DXY, and with that DXY, as this is a very important level of support, and from here we have seen that a complete bounce. We can expect DXY again to break below this support level where there is a high liquidity, and as this is an important level of support, what we can expect on DXY, this is where what I think that the price may break below, grab liquidity, and then could bounce back up to create a new higher high. This could be the wave for the upcoming week on DXY, and based on that we can look for trading opportunities starting with the euro dollar. Now euro dollar, what we can see that from the monthly perspective on euro dollar, this is a monthly price action where we can see that there is a back-to-back after 3 months of bearish move. Previous months euro dollar has formed a doji, now which is a very important monthly doji. The price has tested the upper shadow of this monthly doji and also the lower shadow of this monthly doji. What we have seen that as it is a long-term downtrending market structure, after the previous monthly doji, this month the price has tested the upper shadow, again almost exactly at 50% of this previous monthly upper shadow, has got a very strong rejection from that zone with a long wick at the top. Therefore, what we can see that from the monthly perspective, that the price has got a rejection maintaining series of lower high. We could see further bearish momentum here on euro USD, and it could drop back to this previous resistance, which is turning support here in this market, expecting euro dollar to drop back down here to create a new lower low. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is bearish market here. Starting from here, we can see there is a very strong drop here followed by this pullback, and we can see another drop followed by this pullback. Now what we can see that on Euro USD, after back-to-back 2 weeks of bounce, the market created series of lower high here, and from the weekly perspective we can see that this is the weekly candle has just closed with a long week rejection, expecting for this market what I think that could continue to drop as the buyers tried to create a new higher high, failed to do so. Instead it has created a lower high and has got a rejection in that area. Now dropping down to the daily chart to see that what we can see from the daily perspective. This is the daily price action on euro dollar, and with that daily price action, this is the daily candle where the price has crossed the high and then has got a very strong rejection. From the daily perspective, the market has formed a daily bearish candle with a both sides equal wick. What we can expect for this market, for the price to go ahead, retest, and then to continue to drop to create a new lower low. Now looking at the 4-hour chart, where we can see that a very strong downtrending market structure. From here the market is forming series of lower high, and with that series of lower high formation, 4-hour bearish candle, this is a neckline of this previous support which is turning resistance. As we can see the last trading day, this during the NFP, there has been a significant bearish pressure here, so the bears are strong in this market. With the market open, what I think that euro dollar may continue to drop from that level, and therefore this is where we will be looking for potential selling opportunity in this market. As soon as we will find suitable entry, we will be looking for selling opportunity on euro dollar. Let's look at Aussie dollar. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in this market. Now from the monthly we can see that from here this is a very strong drop here on AUD USD, and with the drop what we can see that from here, this is the monthly price action, there is a very strong bounce from this level, and with that bounce there after the previous monthly doji, the price has tested the upper shadow of this previous monthly doji, and this month we can see the price has so far bounced in the first week of the trading week, as it is a series of lower high on the monthly. What I think that the price may retest this resistance and could drop back down again to create a new lower low. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly price action here. From this level, this is a very strong drop followed by this pullback to the 20 EMA, and we can see this is another drop followed by this pullback, another drop followed by this deeper pullback in this market. Now from the weekly perspective, the price we can see this is support here, turning resistance here, and creating series of lower high in that area. From the weekly, the market has closed with this weekly bearish candle, and what we can expect for the market, what I think that the price may still maintain that series of lower high, expecting for the price to drop again to create a new lower low. Now looking at the daily chart to see how the market is evolving, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily chart on AUD USD. We can see this from this level there is a bounce and a drop here followed by this pullback to the upside, and from the daily perspective here, this is the daily doji formation on AUD USD. But I think that with the initial weakness on DXY, we might see AUD USD either retesting this resistance or breaking that high, and we may see that further continuation to the downside towards the long-term downtrending market. So this could be the wave on AUD USD. Now let's look at British Pound US Dollar. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in this market. Now from the monthly, we can see that GBP USD is long-term bear market. Starting from here, a big drop from the monthly, and with that monthly drop from here, we can see this is a support level on GBP USD. The market is forming series of lower high formation, and what we can expect in this market is what I think that has initially has got a bounce. We can expect for the market to retest and then to continue to drop. Now looking at the weekly perspective, this is the weekly price action on GBPUSD, which is we can say a little different than euro dollar. So we can see that on GBPUSD, the price has crossed the previous important weekly dojis high. And as the market has crossed this weekly dojis high, where there is a high liquidity, and as this weekly candle on GBPUSD is a strong liquidity trigger, that could lead that price to continue to drop again to the major direction of the trend. And what I think that GBPUSD might be heading to this support level here. Now looking at the daily chart, we can see that from the daily perspective here on GBPUSD, here is from this level, there is a big drop here followed by this pullback, and we can see another drop followed by this pullback, and the market is maintaining series of lower high and lower low on GBPUSD. And daily perspective here, this is a resistance here, and there is a long week rejection. From the daily perspective, there is a big drop here on GBPUSD, expecting for this market to pull back up and then to continue to drop to create a new lower low. Now from the 4-hour perspective on British pound US dollar, we can see that from the 4-hour time frame, this is where the price has grabbed the liquidity and managed to start a downtrend here. So here is the resistance line, drop here, pull back to the upside, and we can see the market is still maintaining a downtrending market structure. So here is what we can see, that the price, after multiple liquidity grab, the price started to drop here, and it has formed a potential head and shoulder here. And with that head and shoulder, what we can expect on GBPUSD is for this market, what I think that initially to retest and then to continue to drop to create a new lower low. So this could be the wave for the upcoming week on GBPUSD. Let's see dollar CAD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have. Looking at the monthly chart on dollar CAD, we can see that from the monthly perspective, this is the monthly price action, and from here, this is the monthly impulse, a strong impulse on dollar CAD. And with the NFP, we saw that after this gap opened, there is a significant rejection on dollar CAD. With the strengthening of CAD, we saw that there was a weakness have shown on dollar against the CAD. The price currently at the monthly support, and I think the price could drop back down here and then continue to drop, rise to create a new higher high. Now dropping down to the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective here, this is the weekly price action where a gap open, a big weekly bearish engulfer here. From the weekly perspective on dollar CAD, expecting for this price to drop further to that level here. So what you can see here, this is a previous resistance here, which is turning support here. There is a weekly 20 EMA. Now looking at the daily chart, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily price action on dollar CAD. There is a massive bearish candle, followed by every day the market is forming series of lower high in that area on dollar CAD. And as there has been significant rejection, the long-term trend is up. There is a high probability that dollar CAD may grab liquidity and then to continue to rise to create a new higher high. Now looking at the 4-hour chart on dollar CAD, we can see that on the lower time frame, the market from this gap open, there's a massive drop here to that support level, expecting dollar CAD to break below, grab the liquidity, and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. This could be the wave on dollar CAD for the upcoming week, and based on that price action confirmation, we can look for potential trading opportunity. Now let's look at XAUUSD. Now looking at first of all past weeks analysis that we expected XAUUSD to bounce from here, and the price almost precisely has done that job, and the market is in a very strong uptrend at the moment. So before we look at further analysis, let's look at the monthly chart to see overall picture in this market. Now from the monthly, we can see that this is a long-term bull market starting from here. This is an impulse here followed by this pullback, and we can see there is another impulse and followed by this pullback. So the market from here a big impulse followed by pullback, another impulse followed by pullback. The market is forming series of higher high and higher low, which is a long-term uptrending market. Now after this monthly bullish engulfer here on XAUUSD, this month with the NFP we can see there is a monthly candle formation and expecting XAUUSD after a pullback to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is a weekly bullish engulfer, and what we can see that this is where there is an impulse followed by this pullback, and we can see another impulse followed by deeper pullback. Now here is what we can see, that from the weekly after this doji formation, the price has broken below that level where there is an important liquidity zone, and after that we saw the market forming series of higher low. There is a very strong breakout to the upside. From the weekly perspective, the price was forming series of higher low here, and what we can see that there is a weekly bullish doji followed by another weekly candle formation. Last week we saw a bullish engulfer, and that bullish engulfer, what we can see the price, here is the resistance line. The price, what I think that from the weekly could drop again for a deeper pullback and then to continue to rise to create a new higher high. Now looking at the daily chart, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is a daily uptrending market structure. Starting from here, an impulse followed by this correction, and we can see another impulse correction, another impulse deeper correction, impulse. And previous weekly forex forecast also we discussed on that on XAUUSD is for this market, this is an important support level. There is a strong breakout here, and from the daily perspective here we can see that last day of trading week we saw a long week rejection with the NFP spike. The market has dropped to the daily level, and with that drop, what I think that on XAUUSD might potentially break this daily low, and we could see that the price potentially testing this low and bouncing back up again to create a new higher high. So looking at the 1 hour chart here on XAUUSD, we can see that from the 1 hour perspective, this is a bull market. The market is maintaining, we can see that series of higher low, and with that series of higher low on XAUUSD, what we can expect for the market to potentially drop here. But I think that there is a high probability the price could break this support here, as this is the daily low and previous daily low is here. In between that zone we could see a potential rejection, and this is could be the wave for the upcoming week, and even we might see a potential sideways movement before it have another bounce to the upside. So this could be the wave for the upcoming week on XAUUSD. Now let's look at dollar yen. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have. Looking at the monthly chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the monthly perspective, this is the monthly price action here. As expected, dollar yen from this monthly level, there is a strong rejection from the top. And if we look at so far in the first week, there is a big drop here. What we can expect on dollar yen for the price to after initial pullback, I think we might see further downside, as we could see that strengthening on yen, as this is the monthly bullish impulse. The price failed to create a new higher high. We have seen instead there is a rejection, expecting dollar yen to drop back again to that support level and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly level here. From here we can see there is a big impulse followed by this pullback, and we can see another impulse followed by, we can see the market is forming series of lower high here, and with that series of lower high, what we can expect for the market to potentially drop here, break this low, and that could give further opportunity for another bounce to the upside. Now looking at the daily chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the daily perspective, here is the price forming series of lower high on the daily, and here is we can see there is a daily doji formation after crossover of daily 20 EMA. the market managed to drop here to that level. As what we can see that from the daily perspective, there is a daily doji formation, wanting to see that dollar yen after retest dropping back again to that support level. As this is a very strong rejection, we could see the price after a correction further drop may happen. Now from the intraday perspective, from 4-hour time frame on dollar yen, we can see that the market potentially trending, and this is a big drop here followed by this pullback, and you can see another drop, pullback, the market forming series of lower high and lower low on dollar yen. What we can expect in this market for the price to retest and then to continue to drop. This is where you will be waiting for potential entry opportunity on dollar yen. As soon as you will find suitable entry, you will be looking for selling opportunity in this market. Now let's look at GBP JPY. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this market. Now looking at the monthly on GJ, as expected in previous weekly forex forecast as well, GBP JPY in fact managed to break below. There was a massive gap open with the weekly. The market tested the high, and then we can see the price managed to drop again to the downside. And with that drop, what we can expect on GBP JPY is for the come back to this support level and then to drop again to create a new lower low. Now looking at the weekly chart on GBP JPY, we can see that from the weekly perspective, there is a gap open. The market has formed series of lower high here, and with that series of lower high formation on GJ, what we can expect after an initial pullback for the price to come back down again to this support level. This is an important level of support, and also this is an important level of support here. Now looking at the daily chart, we can see that from the daily perspective on GJ, we can see that after a bounce here, the market grabbed that liquidity, and then the price managed to break below, pull back to the resistance line. The price is forming series of lower high and lower low in this market on GJ, and what we can see that the price every single day forming series of lower high here, and with that series of lower high formation, expecting GBP JPY to go up for a pullback and then to drop back again to that support level. Now from the 4-hour perspective on GBP JPY, we can see that from the lower time frame, this is a resistance line. The price, this is where there is a high liquidity, big drop here, pullback, another drop, pullback. The market is forming series of lower high and lower low, and what we can see that in this market where there is a resistance line here, the price grabbed the liquidity on GJ from the 4-hour and has managed to break below. Here is what we will be waiting for GJ, for the price to retest and then to drop back again to create a new lower low. This could be the wave. As we have seen from the weekly, there is a massive gap open. We could see further bearish continuation on GBP JPY. Traders, I believe that you enjoyed this weekly forex forecast. You found value in it. If you enjoy, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. Thank you, and I'll see you soon in my next analysis.